All right, I got 5:30. I'm calling the meeting to order. We got Ms. Davis and Mr. Rader by phone for this special call meeting. 2.1 approval of the agenda.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed. All right. 3.1 WES disbursement, Ms. Potts. We've all had a chance to look at it.
Yes. So this is for WIMCO. They've asked for a disbursement of $2,279,062.49. And I have provided you with the disbursement form and also the total summary of disbursements as of today.
Anybody got any questions about the disbursement? Nope.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 All right. Coming to the mic is Jimmy Hype, Brad Makepeace with WIMCO, and I'm sure Kelly will come up too. So everybody come on.
All right.
What attachment you want to start at?
So I didn't know if you wanted to put the one on the screen that I sent, or I've got handouts enough for everybody, and we can run through that.
Whatever you want to do. Hand them out. Yeah.
You want the handouts?
Yeah, that way we can scribble.
Some of that.
Now, board, this for every end of public. This is
I'll get yours.
do it.
Thanks.
Okay. This is the list of some extra items that we could put back into that was already in the allocated budget for the school for adding on to what was existing. But this is okay. All right. Who wants to go? Brad or whoever.
All right. So this is a comprehensive list.
Read this one.
What's that?
I can read this sheet.
Yeah. I like big font.
Yep.
So this is a comprehensive list of all things that have been discussed over the course of many monthly meetings at the project site on enhancing and adding some features on some scope of work that's already in the project. And we just wanted to bring this to you. We've got it categorized with different levels of really importance. What we're up against is the lead time column. It's time to make some decisions on these so we can move forward with getting what we need to have some of these things completed, if that's what we're going to be doing before school starts. So I'll just jump right in. Anybody want to stop us for questions?
I'm going to tell them what Stacy and Steve were on the last attachment that says WES 033026 added items. All right, go.
Thank you.
This is on the,
It's on the board doc. Yep.
mine looks a little different. Mine has links to pictures. I like pictures. So I sent that to, well, these are just examples.
We'll get to that when we get to it.
Of what I'm supposed to say.
Yeah, that's for you.
Sure.
All right.
Okay, at the top, additional request for vendors that are contracted directly with Beaufort County Schools. So there's 2 vendors now that have been contracted direct with you guys, and that's the furniture and the playground structures. So a list was created of some additional furniture for different rooms, basically to enhance what was on the base bid, and also adding some resource type pieces of furniture. Anything you want to elaborate on that list from Al, what it is, just briefly?
Well,
No,
Okay.
we're just on furniture right
so
now.
furniture, really, I chose really minimal furniture for each classroom. But knowing that we have some extra money to spend, I went back and, wanted to get some STEM bins for each classroom, so they're, they have drawers that pull out that you can, each classroom will have, the opportunity to have all of their STEM stuff all in a nice file type cabinet instead of a hub that they all have. Sensory furniture, some furniture that, you can see in the pictures, it hugs the kids when they sit, things that they can actually feel enclosed in, things that they can rock on, like soft furniture that they can have in the classroom.
Yeah, so that dollar amount is at the top, the $281,560. Lead time on that is 10 weeks, and that was one of the reasons why we asked to have this special meeting called, so thank you. Because if we had waited till mid-April, we might not get some of these things if desired by the time school is open. And then the next item was the playgrounds. There were some shading structures added or requested to be added along the different playgrounds, along with some benches, and a few other things that were not in the original playground scope. So, and that's $149,770. That too needs to be ordered pretty soon to be able to show up and install with the rest of the playgrounds early this summer. So, any questions on those first two items?
Nope.
All right. Moving down, so these are additions that we have been asked to price for different scopes of work that we feel like is a high priority for us to be able to release these things and get them on time. Adding artificial turf in both of the east and west courtyards was one. Right now, there's only artificial turf in the center courtyard, but there's two others. That would just be regular grass seed, but that would be an enhancement. Adding some sod around the buildings, basically just to sort of beautify the front curb appeal of the building from the carpool lane and then around all the buildings throughout. We've also got to add some geese protection in the ponds so these ponds are required that we have to plant certain wetland plants for stormwater requirements for the state. And the geese protection, I don't know if you want to, it's
Yeah.
mainly just different wires and fencing.
Yeah, it's just string and wires that you put up across the fencing, because if, before the plants, set up, get established, the geese will go in there and take them all out, and then it's 10 grand to replace all the plugs that are getting the pond.
If the water aquatic features are not growing in these retainment ponds, they have to keep it up, and these water aquatic features have got to grow. If they don't grow, there's not within water quality or land quality compliance. Did I say that right?
Yeah, it all sounds right, yeah. And it's not a permanent structure, the geese protection. It's just until everything gets established and rooted in and we're past all the requirements of the state.
I just wondered, I've never heard geese protection, I guess, because I'm always seeing, we call it Goose Food Park. When you buy
Right.
Park Drive.
I noticed them landing the other day when I was out there landing in that pond. I'm like,
Yeah. Okay.
We've also got a placeholder in for folding chairs for the new gym or multi-purpose area for different events with the rollable racks that would go in those storage closets. So there's number in for that. And then we've got different appliance upgrades and additions above the original base bid. I think there were some ice machines and dishwashers and a few other mini fridges for classrooms for some of the medicine that some of the kids need that need to stay refrigerated. That's what's in this number, the $45,000. Next is additional tack boards for all corridors. There are tack boards in the classrooms, but down the corridor halls. There was a few halls that, adding some tack boards outside of classroom doors. Some additional brick screening walls and some hardware that was upgraded to key card access. So throughout the site, there are different access points for people coming in from the parking lot, the staff parking lots, and the carpool areas. There's some screen walls that tie into the fencing that goes around the perimeter of the site. So this is adding some more of those brick walls at those entrances and around the chillers, as well as some secured access hardware at those gates. Next would be upgrading the lighting along the building 100 to illuminate the new signs. The signs and the design for the signs and the location of those weren't determined until recently. That's typically how it goes once the logo is picked and the name is figured out. So this is just some lighting up on the soffits of the main building, as well as some few extra lights were added around the site just for some added security features. Next would be, there's 2 fire lanes, upgrading those gates. They had the typical gates for a fire lane, which is, I believe P.S. Jones and John Small, maybe just P.S. Jones has them, the pipe gates, which is fine there because it's not a completely fenced-in campus. So this one is, and the fire lane goes through one of the areas with the playground. So in order to secure the playground site, I guess that's the reason. Those gates have been upgraded to a gate that a kid can't just jump under and run out.
Swing gates, if you don't have it exactly tight, then kids can squeeze through those gates. So we wanted a slide gate that touches when it closes.
Let's see. Upgrade some existing parking lot lighting and seal coat, stripe the existing asphalt. So the existing bus parking lot now for Eastern that also is in front of Pod 10 will remain as part of the project. It's an older parking lot. There is some site lighting over there that some of the heads might need to be changed out or moved or rewired so they all come on with the new lighting around the new school. And then the suggestion was made to go ahead and seal coat and restripe that parking lot while we're doing this other work. So that's what that number is. And then finally on this hot list is the sewer. There's an existing sewer lift station that pumps the sanitary sewer from portions of Eastern Elementary, including the existing gym, which is going to remain. That lift station is old and has been given problems, and Facilities has asked us to price deleting that, digging it up, abandoning it, do away with the services, and then laying a new sewer line from that existing gym all the way to Hudnall Street. We have to tie into a manhole, which is a DOT encroachment deal that we're working on. So,
And just for clarification, that is on the existing building that's already structured there.
that's right. Yep. So basically,
Not the WS structure.
that's right. So basically, doing away with that altogether and tying it in to where it's a non-maintenance moving forward for the bathrooms in that gym. And that line crosses the existing staff parking lot, which also remains. So we'd like to do that work this summer after Eastern dismisses.
So
Any-
the bottom
any-
2 items is existing structures to be enhanced with what we got going on, correct? Those bottom 2 line items, the 37,000 and 106.
That's right.
Okay.
So the total for all those items that I just went over is that 572, 975. We have majority of all those items. We have actual hard pricing on. Some we have rough order of magnitude on a few items that we're nailing down some quantities, but as we've listed here, this is not to exceed pricing, so it should be, it should cover all of these items, and then we can reconcile as needed.
Question.
Okay.
So,
I'll wait till he
You-
finishes.
Yes.
Do you want to break this, any questions up there from that point on, from this point? You want to do that right quick?
sure. Any,
All right.
any questions for those first two headings?
Just for clarity as we move forward, so I'm to understand that, and I understand what you're saying on upgrading the gates on fire lanes and things like that. So the original bid didn't include gates that would keep the kids in the school? I know what he's talking about, but I mean, the original ones weren't designed to keep the kids in the school, so we need to upgrade them now so they don't get out?
So, was it
I
a
don't-
pipe
I mean-
gate, was
Yeah.
it a pipe gate in the bid or the?
I mean, I'm just trying to figure out how
Right.
we designed this to where we have to add this many things to upgrade designs that we didn't apparently,
There were.
Weren't the right
pipe-
way.
There were pipe gates at the emergency access lanes. They were not, they weren't chain link. So,
Okay.
yeah, kids can get through pipe gates.
oh, I understand. I just would have thought,
That's,
since we were building a school, we'd have thought about that up front.
Go, Don.
Yeah, I just had a question. You were talking about existing items, and I'm looking at the site landscape plan, and what I'm just curious about is the existing classroom building to remain. I thought all that was gonna be torn down.
No, there's two buildings, right? Go.
Yeah, there are two buildings that remain, Pod 10 and the existing gym.
There, it's on that blueprint
Well,
over
it
there that
says
stay.
existing classroom building to remain.
Yep,
Yeah, that's the
Yep.
building that faces Hardee's.
yep.
Okay.
Newer building in the back.
Yeah, it's a
Metal structure.
pre-engineered metal building, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's always been on that plat, has always
Okay.
stayed. Yep. All right, go ahead.
Okay, and then the next category talks about the allowances. These are allowances that were already part of the original contract, but this is what we're estimating to be spent from those allowances. Some of them are just the allowance numbers. So there's some construction material testing that remains. We're estimating 14,000. Supplemental media center equipment, that's for different things that the media center team will let us know needs to be ordered. I think they're working on that list. Like 3D printers or something like that is typically what's used.
So out of that 500, real quick, that 503,000 is still left in the allowance budget to be spent. That's not added to, correct? Or is that added to?
No, the 500 is what we project being spent on these allowances, but there's more in those allowances in total. So skipping down to the bottom, I mean, total to date, project uncommitted funds, which includes allowances, is $4,695,336.
All right,
So all these numbers are coming out of that, if you want to look at it in
okay,
buckets of money.
got it.
Go back a second so I understand. The 503,262 is part of the original bid, and it's part of the original money, or no?
There are allowances within the overall total project set aside for certain things.
And these were considered within those allowances?
Yes, yes,
Not extra?
yeah. And they're just here on this paper so that we don't have to come back in another month and say, okay, we got the small wares bid or the
Okay.
custodial equipment
Oh,
bid.
got you. I got you.
You know what I mean?
No, wait a
We're
second.
gonna have to order that stuff pretty soon.
Yeah, wait, can I ask a question?
Go.
I don't understand. If what you just said, if those figures were in the original allowance, and am I understanding that's the question you were asking?
Right, and I'm assuming, well, I was assuming that this is money that technically is already encumbered as part of the bid. It just hasn't been spent yet.
That's right.
Correct, it's uncommitted. That's
The
what this whole sheet is
572
for, uncommitted.
The 572 was not committed. That was correct me if I'm wrong.
572 is extra.
No, yeah, something has to be,
431 is extra, but the 503 is not an additional cost because it was already factored in that original bid, but it has not been spent yet, and we have to be mindful that we still have to spend that.
But time out. If that's one, either, this is a statement that either or is not true or we don't understand. If it was already in the original bid, then there's no reason to ask us to approve it tonight. It's already been, we already approved the original bid. It's either in or it's out, and this is being asked us of extra bids. Is that,
Yeah.
am I the only one that understands
yeah.
that? If it was in the 42 million bid price, then we wouldn't be asked to come together tonight to approve it.
Well,
Now,
Brad-
now, there's part of it on here we are.
That's what I want to see. I want to
All
know
right,
what on here is
so-
in it and what is extra.
Brad,
The
That's what I want.
503, the 503 is
502.
in the allowance, already done.
Correct.
And you're in the process of
Correct.
of that getting ready to be ordered.
That's
So the
correct.
503 basically can be said, that's already in the allowance and not done. And already in the allowances and being taken care of. The 572, 975, the top line item that you went through the first, that's extra.
That's right, and the
All right.
431 above that.
And the 431 is above that, is an additional request. All
Okay,
right.
then the 503, you're saying is not.
That was
Yeah,
in the
but he said
original
he
allowance.
had that on there for a reason. He put that on there for a reason.
Because it's currently uncommitted.
Okay, but it's still figured in the 2.9 total that we're being asked to approve.
Correct.
Yeah, agree.
Then it's going to be extra. Because
Well,
if it's
in the
not extra, we've
previous-
already approved it.
Well, in the previous allowances that were already in the contract, we were asked to come and present
Right.
before we could move forward, like the furniture.
Right.
Like, we didn't need to go through that exercise
Okay.
because it was already in the contract, but we did because that's what you guys requested.
Okay.
So that's why I put it here.
All right.
Okay.
We didn't understand why we're here for the furniture either, but
Okay.
nevertheless, we did it and it got passed and we got it on the way.
And we want as much
That sound right?
transparency, not just.
Are you good now?
For the time being.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I got it. I think I'm with it, up to date.
Okay.
Well, we didn't want any money sent back either. For
That's right.
all this.
Like the small wares
Oh,
and
hang
the
on.
custodial equipment.
Stacy?
While we're having this discussion, I think this looks great, by the way, and what great additions. But the one thing that I think we should look at here is the one-time capital spending versus the recurrent operational expense. So do we have the operations in our budget yearly to maintain this without taking anything away from any of our other schools?
No, this would be folded into all of our
Yeah.
schools' capital.
Yes.
We do? Okay, great, thanks.
This is different.
All right, go ahead, sir.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
All right, next item are items that we have, is an item that we've discussed in our monthly progress meetings on site. Ever since the very beginning, when we had that 4-month delay on getting started, while we waited on the permit, we've had subcontractors beating our door down, wanting to expedite. So yes, so that's what this is. Kevin has done a real good job of managing that on site with the subcontractors. Initially, that number was a lot higher at the very beginning because everybody had a bunch of unknowns. We said, guys, just trust us. Let's get the work done. We're gonna have good weather, and let's get to where we're gonna get, and then we'll see at the end. And so this is the 181,450 to help add crews and expedite 3 or 4 key trades, working some more weekends, some more overtime. We feel like that's a very value-added number, given the circumstance.
Yep. Agreed. All right.
And then finally, these were some more items that was brought to us to get priced up or explore. And that's the titled Beaufort County Schools requested additional learning spaces, equipment, or furnishings. Pod 10, renovating that to an alternative learning space, which includes some, I don't know if we want to explain that, but it's more upfitting
Well,
that space.
It's painting, replacing the fire alarm, it's lighting, adding some sidewalks for accessibility. Basically getting a building ready for students that really is showing its age and needs to have some work done.
We're talking about the same building he was asking about, right? The one
Yes.
that kind of faces Hardee's.
That's right. Yep. And from our understanding, that was decided that was going to be that space, during the projects and,
10 different things, but I think that's
right.
fine.
So basically, there's 8 or 10 different subcontractors involved in getting this building to that. That's why it's 135. It's-
I always call that the new building, even though it's showing.
Right.
But when you look at everything else on that campus, other than this one, it is pretty new.
I remember that building.
I wasn't
20 years old.
with them, but I
It-
knew that it was needed.
It seems new to me too, but it's 20 years old.
I can't believe
I think originally we were talking about offices for that.
it. And it was gonna be, technology.
Yes.
We had to
Yes.
move the big power hub. It's, like I said, it was gonna be a lot of different, everything but a beauty salon, but we did not, so is it gonna be dedicated to alternative learning?
Yes.
And what age groups will be in there? Just the age groups that are at the school?
K-12.
K-12?
K-12.
Oh, see, I don't know everything. Okay. K-12. Yeah, oh, yeah, we need it, I'm just saying. Okay, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Next item was, we just had a placeholder in there for some funds to pressure wash both those metal buildings and some sidewalks around them, just to make them look new when the job is complete. The next item is the vehicle barrier at the front entrance that was discussed at the last meeting. We've got some handouts just for some examples like we mentioned. Let's split them up.
I'm the one that brought that up, and I wanna, not to shortchange all the work that's been done in the mock-ups, because I think those are important. But I certainly am willing to capitulate on that if there's not a way to make it look good and not a way, I don't want the traffic, the people, foot traffic coming in the morning to bottleneck because of those things. I just, we're gonna do it, I wanna be as safe as we can be doing it, but I don't want it to look like a department store, and I don't want it to look like a hospital, I want it to look like a school. And, I did talk to somebody today, and we were talking, of course, it would be a lot more than 26,000, but that in the morning and in the afternoon, those doors are unlocked and open, because you've got kids coming in and out, being picked up, dropped off. But, they have at some commercial buildings, they have these ballards that go into the ground during those times.
The balls.
And then when school is in session and there's no dropping off and picking up, they come up out of the ground. So I don't know what additional that would be. I'm sure probably 2 or 3 times this price. But it would alleviate that concern over bottlenecking at 8 AM and 3 PM. But it would provide that barrier during the day, and we have our school shooting today somewhere. Just,
Either one to keep them from driving.
so,
Which one
I'm
you
just
like?
putting it out there, but I also, if we do nothing, I'm not gonna brag and complain about it. because I know
Which one do you like,
Which
Kelly?
one you like is what he's saying.
Yeah, which one do you like, Kelly?
As long as they can't drive through, I don't care.
I was told the brick planters, as pretty as they are, that they would leak and then stay in the
Yep.
concrete. So
I don't like the brick planter.
And somebody's got to keep them up.
Right, what do you
Yeah.
plant?
I like the planters too, but then you pointed
Nah,
out
I'm-
where the line drips.
I would, and
Yeah.
I would only plant something green in those that would be green all year, and then during the
Do
spring
one of
and
those
fall,
others.
you could put annual.
I think it's a good idea, whatever, one of these 3. Yeah.
What about
I wouldn't use
that?
anything but dirt.
That was a little
Well, that's
image
kinda-
I made.
I
I said,
like
well,
that.
what would they look like if we painted them?
I like that.
And I really
Was
like
trying to
the-
dress it up, make it
Got
look
any
like an
recommendations?
elementary
They're
school.
saying that.
I really like the sign, but I
Too
really
late
like
now.
the sign that's
No,
out
go
there
ahead.
because
Too
the
late,
schools
it's
would-
already out there.
Hey, I was
Low
doing
traffic,
this.
yeah.
Just surprises.
Yeah, come up with whatever looks good there.
It's whatever,
Well,
so
it
you
looks
can't
like
drive through it.
target.
Just don't make it look like,
So that was just to illustrate some stainless steel bollards is another option.
yeah, I know.
But the first on the sheet is what we've explored. And the concrete monument style bollards in the center would probably be the most bang for the buck and the most vehicle resistant. And easy for Jamie to go fix if somebody does back into one day. And then the ones at the bottom, yeah, concrete barriers, target balls. That's exactly what they are. Those require an extra foundation and anchor bolts and a couple different trades to weld in the base plates so they don't roll off, and they're secure enough that,
I
So-
can't not think of Target. when I-
right.
Can I ask a question?
Go ahead.
This is to all of you sitting out there. Don't say anything, just a show of hands. Do you think we need a safety barrier at the front entrance of the school?
Yeah,
Yeah, raise your hand high if you think we need it,
Okay.
okay?
I think that's,
If you would
Decide.
prefer we not spend the
6,000.
26,000 on them, raise your hand. I think truth be told, Emily doesn't, she wants the school to be safe, she just don't want us to spend money. So, but I think, I wanted to do that because if we vote not to do this, I don't want y'all to think we don't care to keep y'all safe, because we do. We're just trying to be good stewards of this money, and I don't want to ugly up the front entrance either. So, come up with a real attractive way.
Well, the 26 number was for the balls. They're the most expensive. I mean, I'll just say, I'll make a motion for this middle picture. Y'all want
yeah,
to
that's,
approve so we can move forward?
I like the
It'll
middle
be
picture.
cheaper.
yes.
And
just
s-
do
That
it.
concrete color, or would we bring that up or what?
What do you think, Jimmy?
If you paint it once, you paint it the rest of its life, but
I like the picture because it's the same color as the ceiling. It doesn't compete with that white band. So I like,
I think they need to see it too.
I like the gray.
Talking about.
I like it just like
I
it's
think
shown
we're
in the
good.
middle.
Let's just go with them like they
Yeah.
are and let's move on.
Yeah.
Yeah, peanut gallery.
All right. Motion approved. All right. Next was some cafeteria and common space murals. Kelly, you want to explain what's in that?
These are murals that were actually brought to us by the student committee. They really are excited that these kids are going to start off so young that they and have the opportunity that they didn't have being in houses. And they found a mural that the cafeteria would be a castle and it's all the houses and then the collaborative areas having murals inside. And so these were quotes from Lisa Jordan, who's a local artist in Greenville. Some people may know her. I know a lot of schools have done paint parties with her, but she's fabulous. And so it just gives it that really exciting feel in the cafeteria.
Got the Brinson girl in town that does a great job. She
Yes.
does a lot of businesses and, she does a beautiful, she was part of one of the murals on the, she repainted the side where the mulberry is. She repainted the side of that, and then down the street across from what used to be Wells Fargo, she painted the side of that. She's really, I mean, if you were, I'm not.
And Heather
some of
Summers,
them are great.
Heather Summers also wants to come out and help. She owns Mud in Motion. She was the art teacher at CMS for a while, and she's a fabulous artist as well. And she's, wants to come out and help paint, just to give those.
What the murals to look like, the houses or?
So it's like a castle, and then each dormer is the flag of its own, with the shield of each house.
Excuse me.
Yep, go ahead.
Is there any way that we could take that mural and turn it into an engagement opportunity with the community? Even sort of like we did with the Christmas cards with some of the local talent that is in town? Because we have a lot of art talent, a ton of it.
I don't have a
And I
problem
think it
with
would be a
that.
great opportunity to showcase it.
I just want to make sure it's done by an artist and not like kids. I don't want to have a
Right,
brand new building with.
And I think Beaufort County Art Council could help you with that.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
I think Beaufort County Arts Council could help her as far as your local talents.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
it would just be great to see it before it's up.
So we're,
All right, so moving on is cell phone booster. This was something that we explored after the last monthly meeting. So this is for Building 100 only, which is where the gym, cafeteria, and administration wings are. This is a placeholder, this 26. The vendor has to do a site survey with the different carriers. The antenna that will service all carriers is a little bit more than one that's specific to AT&T or Verizon or whatever. But we're seeing this more and more often. We already have the BDA repeater, which I've talked about before, which is emergency responders, and that's already in the works. But this is now being looked at by certain jurisdictions as a safety issue, because if there is an event in the multipurpose and a parent or somebody's there and wants to call 911, they can't because their cell phone doesn't work. So there's that argument to why this is being added at certain buildings. So.
And if you want to see that in action, go out to PS Jones and try to get a call out. So why don't, not with this money,
That's
but why
right.
don't we find a way to fix that problem?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I just left there an hour ago and tried 4 times to get a call out to school and couldn't do it.
Yeah, it's very frustrating, and we have parents who, you know, need to make a call to another parent, and they can't because they can't get a phone call out.
Yeah, well, once we get this survey done and quote, we can gladly share his contact information. He can go there and do a survey there and let you know what it would be. Next is a few site upgrades. So with Pod 10 turning into alternative learning, there was a need for a possible pathway to get lunches to and from the new cafeteria to the Pod 10, which is a right decent walk. We have priced adding a golf cart path from the fire lane up to that area, as well as there's some site upgrades dealing with the artificial turf that was mentioned above, that, you know, there's stone base and drainage that has to be added. And then adding some stone base around the maintenance facility building. As you know, the repaving that parking lot was part of the original contract, original scope of work. That work has been completed. The fencing around that facility is part of the original contract. That work has been completed. This is just adding some stone in a laydown area around the building, which is now just grass. Next is an outdoor soccer enclosure with running track to be proposed to go in one of the playground areas, common areas.
Playground area.
Yeah. We do have some hard pricing on these items.
And this is really neat because it's totally enclosed, so they can kick the soccer ball and it stays within the enclosed area. And has a track all the way around it, which kids love to run. Kids love to race each other at recess.
And then there are also some specific interior furnishings for the collaborative and lobby spaces. These are some custom, I guess,
Sensory wall items, sensory pieces of furniture. A lot of this was taken from, we visited Aces for Autism and took a lot of that from, a lot of their ideas from Aces.
so basically it fills the 2 lobby spaces that are called collaborative areas at each classroom wing.
Well, I don't have a problem with that, but once again, so we building lobbies in the school and we never even put any allowance for furniture in them?
Well, we do have furniture, but these are like sensory items that would go on the wall. These are things that, you know,
Sure.
before we were not, I didn't
Okay.
go over budget for anything.
Right.
Well,
Okay.
and we didn't want any money to go back.
I heard you say that a while ago, and I'm really not sure we need to be saying it that way. The worst thing, coming in under budget is not the worst thing in the world.
Right, right.
Because remember, every dollar that we spend of the grant money, a certain amount has to be kicked in from the county.
20%.
And I would love to see money given back to our county. I want that, matter of fact, I hope, is this been recorded? Please record it. Terry Williams said, he would love to be able to give the county part of their money back.
Yeah, it's never a bad thing.
I can't imagine how that would be a bad thing.
No, I don't think it's a bad thing to be conservative with the monies that you have and spend it wisely.
Right, I'm not against spending
With
some
that
of this
said,
money.
I also would
Yeah.
like, since we have been, you have been, such great stewards of this money, we're coming in under budget to allow us to do the things that we put aside, and I said this at the last meeting, we put some things aside in the beginning, because as you said, Cal, we didn't wanna overspend, we didn't wanna spend money that wasn't absolutely necessary, and by doing so, we've got a nice little chunk that's still left. Now, that's barring any complications.
You got a summer to go through, and who knows what's gonna actually happen.
So.
Don't cut this so close that you
And
end up hurting your own self.
Okay, Stacy.
Thanks. I understand about the budgeting and things, but what I don't think the board understands is the neurodivergence that's increasing in schools. And we're talking about mental health issues and things like that. And offering these children support in this particular developmental age gives them a great start when they start getting into middle school. And, you know, keeping their minds busy and going with, you know, getting them to think and feel comfortable is so much more important than going in front of a building.
I agree.
It really is.
You know what? I agree with that, Stacy, wholeheartedly.
And I agree with that too, so I want to make sure I address that right now. I can't speak for the whole board, but Stacy, this board member understands it very well.
But-
So don't say the board doesn't
Yeah, well, I
understand
do
it.
too.
Oh,
I
didn't
understand it
mean
quite
that.
well.
Excuse-
Thank you.
Hey, excuse me, I did not mean to say it that way.
Okay,
That's
At
how
all.
you said it.
all right.
And
Yeah,
for
forgive me.
Brad and
I'm not putting
Kelly
up no more to this junk.
and the architect, I don't think
Not
that
what I
you're
meant.
coming up with things that are frivolous here. I agree with Stacy, things that are needed for our children. So I wanted to say that as
Yeah,
well.
and if we're recorded and going on the record, I'd love to plug Wimco. The whole reason we're having this conversation is because our bid came in $3.3 million under his construction budget.
And,
Fantastic.
and I think we are tickled that Wimco is doing this.
Right.
You've done a fabulous.
You have, we're
Yeah.
tickled to death.
And I 100% understand where Stacy's coming from, because I feel the same way. If we can add these sensory walls, and I'm not in the trenches with you teachers, and I know you have kids every day in your classroom that are in the trenches with you, and if there is anything that we can afford to add, without it being frivolous, but being something that helps these kids cope, the sensory walls, the special furniture, all of that, I want us to be able to do that.
Absolutely.
You know, so
And I'm not against that.
at all. I just wanna make sure we have enough money left, so if something happens, I'm, listen to this, if it's, I will not go back to the commissioners and ask them for $10.
Me
Right.
either.
That's right.
I will not.
And I go home to one every night, but I will not.
Right.
I will not, oh my God, it went.
Well, I know what a sensory wall would have been for me when I was teaching and lining the students up in the hallways. And I don't know, I think with the increase of the increasing of neurodivergence in our population, I just feel like it would be a great marketable asset to even bring more families to our community.
So, where are we at?
We're at a golf cart and lockable shelter with charging station, basically to house the golf cart under lock and key. We'll have to figure out where that's going to actually live on the campus.
So
But-
that's one golf cart.
That's one golf cart basically for transport to lunches to Pod 10.
Well, we walked that. That's
Have
a-
to get breakfast and lunch brought to them. And
Yeah,
so,
that's a pretty large area.
Don't let Coach John drive it, because I think he drives too fast.
Next is just a few little site items that made mention of adding a brick sort of planar wall around the flagpole that's at the center of the school in the parking lot in front of the main entrance, and then just some specific signage for different titled positions within the school.
Question, are we gonna have one flagpole that will have the North Carolina and the US flag, or are we gonna have two? Why was that big smile? Is that-
It's a nautical style flagpole, like what you see downtown near the waterfront. So it's got the cross. So the highest point will have the American flag, and then there'll be the North Carolina flag, and
And then our winning house flag for the month, yeah.
yeah.
The third one.
But it's one pole. Yeah, yeah. Next is these are a few amenities in those courtyards, such as a time capsule. I believe there was one at both of the other schools, butterfly garden, some picnic tables, those coated ones that last for a good long time, some benches. So was there anything else in those spaces? And then the last two items were sort of basically additional learning spaces that were requested. Neither of these have been designed yet, so these are obviously involve a lot of different subcontractors. But the first one is a greenhouse, and the second one is a planetarium. We sort of have an idea of where these might go, but I think there's some more consulting that needs to be done between all of us. Basically, as far as the planet, go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say, when I was reading the scope of the grant, like an amphitheater, any kind of space that can be seen as a, extra learning space, is covered by the grant. And the planetarium is something that I feel like we all take our kids to and travel to all over the state to see them. Just this year, PS Jones took their 8th graders to a park in Brimton. And this is the planetarium that they have, and it is truly the coolest place. We were thinking if we had something like this, we already went through the ELA units. I mean, 9 or 10 ELA units could fall within this software that could be shown through them. Not to mention all the science standards. But it's something that is, where we would put it is in a place that other schools could come, just pull up a bus, and they could visit the planetarium as well.
I like the idea of both. My feelings are on both of them is that I would not want a tiny greenhouse. If you can't pull one classroom in it, we don't need a greenhouse that only a few kids get to go in at a time. It needs to be where each teacher could take a classroom in there if they're gonna study the science of, plants and everything else. Then I would wanna at least, I'm not trying to have a greenhouse that will grow vegetables for half of Washington. I'm just, it needs to be big enough for a classroom, and if we can't afford to build that, we don't need a greenhouse. And I feel kind of the same way about the planetarium, although that's a little different, in what it offers, because even when Al Powell comes, he only lets a few people go in at a time. But that's a time fee. If you've got a planetarium and a teacher takes their class out there and only 3 kids can go in at a time, she's gonna be out there, or he's gonna be out there for an hour and a half trying to get everybody routed through, and now you're at a loss, not that it's not instruction, but you're at kind of a loss of some instructional time, so I would also want that big enough for a class.
I think the one in Grifton could easily hold 60 kids.
But that one sounds mighty big.
It doesn't seem big on the outside, but just the way that the seating is, on the inside, it was really, really nice.
Can these, you're not 100% sure on the pricing yet, is that right?
That's right.
I hate to approve something when we don't know what it is. We approve it and we come back and say it went from 403 to 804.
Yeah. Well, like I said, we've got these listed as not to exceed pricing. So we would make sure that what gets designed meets these budget numbers or below. So this is essentially just like in 2023 when this board approved the construction budget of $51,603,000. The project wasn't bid yet, but it was approved to move forward, and it's bid, and there was some savings, and we're talking about those savings here. So, yeah, this would be reconciled at the end of the project.
Because both of those things are science, and we're now gonna be tested on science, so everything we can do to support the classroom teaching, this would do that. I just wanna make sure what we're building is enough to hold the classroom.
Brad, I've got a question.
Yes,
So
sir.
are we- in approving this, are we reasonably sure then that there's not gonna be any unexpected expenses or overruns? I meant to say overruns. You know, there's always overruns. We've talked about that before. And I understand where Terry's coming from, but what about any overruns that might be unexpected?
I feel pretty confident about all of the added things that we've talked about. The only unknowns for us, for WIMCO, is the custodial equipment and small wares. We did get one price from small wares, which is more than this allowance. But until custodial equipment and makerspace come back, they might come in under, and that could help with some of that overage.
What about the project in general?
So the project in general, a few of these things are critical to get there just before school starts. So like the furniture, getting the playgrounds done, they don't affect our inspections. Anything that may affect a final inspection, the fire marshal signing off to let teachers in the building, we have sort of gone past all that. We're not adding any scope that would slow our permit down from being closed out. Now, if, say, at the bottom, if the greenhouse and the planetarium, if we were to move forward with those, we would probably have to permit those separately, so they didn't affect the main project, because it's doubtful that those would be able to be completed before the first day of school. But they would be sort of off the main campus structures, but they would have to be tied in with the fire alarm and that sort of thing. So,
So, there may be a joint answer here. I'm just asking, not that I'm not for it, I'm just asking, if the planetarium and the greenhouse, if we got to, you would know really good in July, right?
as far as the cost,
No, I'm talking about where we are on complete, because if you look at planetarium and the greenhouse is for, that's 600,000.
right?
And the soccer, you're looking at 741,000.
All right. So if you look at those, well, I'm looking at you now because I want to know when we close out the grant, what is there a timetable on close? It was 24 months from the start of construction, right? And then
March of 25 when we started.
all right. So do you know if they'll have an issue with us, like we get our CO, we go into school at August 17th, ribbon cutting, we're all good, kids go to class, but we have the 700,000
$741,493.
to spend. Can you do that at that time, or am I asking,
No, I understand.
so
Yeah.
so that's 700.
If there's things on the list that need to be tabled,
I'm not
things
saying
down on the
that I
bottom
want
could-
to table it, I'm just thinking
Yeah.
but this still keeps us at 1 point, at the date, if this whole list was approved as presented, 1.73, $1,733,524.03
would
left.
still remain.
to-
That's
to
correct.
remain.
Yeah. And probably, you do the math on the 20%.
Yeah, I'm doing that right now.
350.
346,350
350.
goes back as county money, and
The rest is lottery.
yep. And so out of this request, okay.
I'm not a hard no for anything that's on this list.
Neither am I.
My concern is exactly where you were going, is a project of this scope, if we're sitting at 1.7 million remaining funds. That concerns me a little bit. I would be more comfortable if we were around that 2.5 range-ish, because, I mean, I don't do it every day. You do, I have to trust your opinion. But it doesn't take many unforeseens before that 1.7 is gone. And that's my largest concern. I mean, obviously, we want as much as we can get for what has already been allocated for this project. But, I do think it would be wise for us to think about maybe rolling 700 or 800 of what's on this list down the road a little bit, so we can kind of ride it a little longer. I don't know how far we go, because obviously if we decide a planetarium, that requires infrastructure, you know, so there's a lot of things that can be done as this project is going on without digging up parking lots, you know, concrete work, things of that major, that may save us some money. But, that's my concern with.
And once we have the ribbon cutting, can we really spend any more of the lottery money?
I will send Mr. Hill, email tomorrow morning to make sure.
Okay. Because if they said no, once the building's occupied, what you've spent is what you spent, and it stops.
Good
So then
point.
you can't add anything
That's a good
else.
question too, because I don't know, you know, once you
that's a good
get your
question.
CO, once you
Occupied, yeah.
once you get your CO and you're occupying the building and teaching instructions, does that shut the draws?
Yeah, what's a cutoff?
Because you built the
And
school.
that's what you're gonna
yeah.
find out for us tomorrow, right?
Yes, ma'am. I'm gonna propose him an email right now and schedule it to hit at 8 o'clock.
I kind of think that once you have your certificate of occupancy, that it stops. But if things are in motion, so to speak, then maybe it doesn't stop until those things are completed. I don't know.
Jimmy, have you had this?
I don't think there's a problem there. Once we get the certificate of occupancy, we'll still have retainage contract on Wimco and on Height. So we will not be paid out completely. So we know that there are lottery funds that are dispersed after a certificate of occupancy.
And like Daniel said, and to add these at the very end of the project, would they even be more expensive because you were not able to do the preliminary infrastructure knowing you wanted to do them? In other words, gosh, had we known this, kind of like the barrier. You need to know now if you're gonna do the barrier before
So,
you.
right, yeah, the barrier, I think that's pretty easy to add, as long as we, know before we do the sidewalk, so we don't have to tear anything out. But 90% of everything on the list is just items that have to be ordered and placed. So there's not a lot of extra work from our subcontractors on majority of these items. But there are some things that will get expensive if we wait, like adding the turf in the courtyards. If we wait until, June to make that decision, we're then reworking work that's already moving
Let me ask
forward.
it this way.
Yeah.
If we hold off on the 700,000 for the 3 large ticket items, does that get us to where we need to be budget-wise to make everybody feel a little comfortable till June? I'm asking.
I think so.
I would feel better at that.
Well, it carries you to $2.475 million, so that's better than 1.7.
Basically hold those.
What does
And-
that,
Do what?
what does that do for us? I'm not against those. I want them 3 items if we can get them, but I don't want to.
If I put it in list of priority, we'd say we prefer the planetarium over the greenhouse and the soccer amenity.
I agree with that. That's something that can be used for a lot of different schools.
And a lot of different schools at one
Well,
time.
and where we want to put it is next to the existing gym, so if another school came, they can utilize the bathrooms in the existing gym, they can have a presentation, they can do class in there, they can bring lunches in there.
Would,
And we even talked about leaving some of the playground equipment right there, so it's almost like a
A
picnic
field
area.
trip.
Yeah, it's
Jimmy,
like a field trip.
you may not have looked at this much yet, Jimmy. Would you feed the electrical and stuff out of that existing gym, since that's where they were thinking about putting it?
I mean, that sounds like
The
a
the
practical idea
infrastructure.
to me. I can't imagine, or I don't know what the load is, but
Yeah.
it would, I don't know, Jamie, you might know what the capacity is.
It can't be that much.
I mean, that should be enough.
How much? Oh, there's a pair of 400 amp panels in that building. Okay. Thought it was 400 amp for that planetarium.
gonna need
I was
some-
like, what the heck?
Yeah.
I agree with you, Kelly, because the greenhouse, as nice as that would be, every teacher can study plants in the
Oh, yeah.
classroom.
Yeah.
I didn't know it would come out that much.
Yeah, and as far as soccer, I love that ability for them, but that is absolutely something that could be added down the road.
And also Kelly, with your IEPs with EC students, I mean, don't they have goals in there where like, they could have like gardening goals? I know I did that at an ADAP center at a mental health that I worked at as a case manager. So they could incorporate that into some of their goals, that, you know, gardening goals.
Yeah, and for the greenhouse, I mean, like I said, it's not designed, so it's priced to have, you know,
Yeah.
concrete in the bottom, irrigation, some heaters, and it doesn't have to have any of that. It can have no irrigation, there's a hose out there, go get it and drag it in. There's,
Oh, yeah.
it can have gravel floors, you know, it
The
doesn't have to have.
planetarium could be used by all of Beaufort
I
County
like the
students.
planetarium. That benefits
All
the
of Beaufort
district.
County
That benefits
students,
the
not
entire-
just
That's
Washington
right.
Elementary School.
How
You know,
about-
But let me ask you, but Daniel, how do you, and I'm all for that too, but where you gonna get back to that 2.5 that you want?
You're
Because
not. That's
taking
what
the
I
other
was
two's
getting
only
ready.
gonna give you 300,000.
Yeah, that's what I was getting ready to ask. So the
Which
interior
carries you to 2
furnishings
million. You're
for-
still short the 400,000 that the planetarium's costing.
Yeah, well, and that's, you know, you've got the interior furnishings for collaborative lobby space, I mean, at 157,800. The soccer, indoor soccer at 103, 234. I mean, if you held off on those, you're talking 500. I mean, that gets you at what? 2.2. I like
Yeah.
the 2.5 number a little better, but
Yeah.
I'm just throwing ideas.
Well, I understand. But there's no other big ticket items really in there except for the sods, 154. I mean,
Yeah,
it's hard to get back to 2.5 leaving it in there.
the sod gets you to, compliance with,
Yeah, I'm not
The
saying take it
intercurricular.
out. I'm just saying that's the only other big ticket item in there. You know, single item in there.
And to comment, Daniel, on your overruns concern, I mean, I can confidently say, you know, we've been saying since we started, contract amount's not going to same. It is what it is, and it has been to this date. Tonight's the first night that we're asking to increase our contract amount to buy things that have been asked of us. The only thing that we're asking is for that overtime with the permit delay. We're typically,
Right.
we don't have change orders unless the owner asks us to. This is the first time in many years where we've had a significant delay on the front end of a job that would affect us to have to fund some subcontractors to get them over the hump and get them done. So I feel confident that we can hold the pricing.
But none of these are change orders. These are all just additions.
No, the only thing additional WIMCO's bringing is the 181,450
Right.
to offset the delay.
And that's
Other than
not-
that, we've asked for.
And
all
we
of it.
talked
yeah,
about.
we've asked for this.
Yeah, and we talked about that many times.
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
150.
Yep.
I'm gonna make a motion, and I'll see if I get a second. I make the motion that we approve the list as presented, excluding the greenhouse and the soccer, until we get closer to end of budget to let us, make sure we're good.
Second.
I'm leaning on my expertise that's in front of me that hasn't let us down yet. And, he has told me multiple times in this room, in front of this board, we're in budget, we're staying in budget, and we've got our allowances, and we're staying where we need to be.
And he's nodding yes right now. I see.
And I'm looking at the two in the center because I'm leaning on them two a lot all the way through this
You know,
project, but.
If we were at the beginning of a project before we had put a shovel in the ground, you know, we don't know anything.
You wouldn't advise any of this, would you?
Well,
No, but there's so many things that could go wrong.
yeah, there's so many things that could go wrong.
I mean, the building is up, the building is there.
I get
Yeah.
what he's
We're
saying.
not poking any more holes in the ground.
And I'll say this again for the public's knowledge, is the reason, 100%, the reason for the planetarium, not only is WES good for the students that's gonna get there. Washington Elementary School is good for the county. There's $42 million of lottery funds, $10 million of, 20% of it, if everybody knows that, we all took a bite of our, where to get this project done. and the planetarium as a whole for the greater good of Beaufort County kids, to be able to come and go to the planetarium. To me, that's value and money in the bank for all of the kids in Beaufort County. Cause where's the closest one?
We traveled to Grifton. I feel like that was the closest one. that
So,
I've been to.
all right, and if we have the funds to be able to do our kids in Beaufort County and be a step up and teach these kids this kind of stuff, I think this money well spent.
And I would say, when we looked at the software, it's not just, the night sky and the stars, like, the software, it will take you under the sea, it'll take you through the wetlands, like, it's really neat. So, it really touches on a lot of
It
different
does more than
standards.
the sky.
Yeah.
Yep.
Who would run this? Classroom teachers, or would we have to have a dedicated position?
So,
No, no.
Jelly, is she here? When I looked at the software, I mean, it comes with teacher guides, and so it really is, it's popping in the lesson into the projector, and it's just like a lesson plan.
So a teacher could, once trained, every classroom teacher could do it?
Yeah.
Because that's how I would want it to be.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to have a dedicated
No.
person there.
And you may be able to run some northeast, have a school designee from other area schools that knows how to run things to
Get
kind of
trained on it.
get trained and come in and do things and teach it. Go ahead, sir.
Kelly, didn't you say you preferred the greenhouse over the planetarium?
No, the opposite.
No.
Planetarium.
You did? Okay, I misunderstood. Okay.
So I understand, so your motion was to take the greenhouse out
And the
and the
soccer.
soccer out.
Motion to approve the list as written, and I got a second to
Right.
approve the list as written, taking the greenhouse and the soccer out until we get further into budgets.
Okay, because that changes your remaining funds to $2,071,000
Yep,
and some change.
yep.
And that's not even knowing if some things may come under the allowance. Not that they will, but we've got,
But it is knowing they won't come over.
won't come over.
And I thank Brad for doing that, cause that's how I price things, at work, that not to exceed number.
Yeah.
Cause it's a not to exceed to make sure you're covered. And, let's say in today's time, back in the day, we would always try to make sure that we're 20% over, but in today's time, if you're 5% over or 4%, we're in good shape. So if you take that number and you say 4% or 3%, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Brad, is this something that WIMCO would construct or the company you buy it from?
There's a couple different options. The geodesic dome structure, there's a few vendors in the western part of the state that specialize in those. So we could buy that kit and have it assembled here on just a standard foundation and slab. And then the subs that are already involved in the project would put in like a mini split for HVAC and fire alarm and lighting, sound
Yeah, you're right.
system.
I wasn't sure if it was something we had to have somebody specialized in.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, as long
Just
as
the
it-
projector and the software.
Hey, Mr. Rader, go ahead.
Yeah, there's a lot of things in there I like, especially the things that enhance the security and some of the upgrades. I just sort of wonder, I don't think I've ever heard of a public school or even a private school having a greenhouse or a planetarium. Are these normal these days for building a new school? They seem somewhat extravagant to me.
We've had greenhouses in Beaufort County schools for a long time, sir.
Yeah.
At our high schools and, and all three high schools have got greenhouses, middle schools have got greenhouses. They've had greenhouses in our schools for a long time.
There are some.
But none of the elementary schools.
And there's some of the elementary schools had one, at some times, but I know Northeast had one at one time. I don't know if they still do or not, and then, but some of the other schools have had it, yes, sir. But right now, the motion on the floor is that one, that we pull the greenhouse and we pull the soccer out is the motion and second on the floor.
Yeah, what about the planetarium? I've never heard of a school having a planetarium.
Now you have.
Yeah.
In fact, when I was down in Mecklenburg, the Charlotte Nature Museum had a planetarium, and all schools that wanted to use it went there.
Yeah.
I wanna say it was
That's what we're talking about. All of the schools in Beaufort County can use this planetarium, not just Washington Elementary. All the citizens of Beaufort County would be able to use the planetarium.
And it's a great opportunity for STEM engagement too, to tie into some of the other locations in town.
The other thing that is a bit of a concern is artwork. I think it's always good to look at what that's going to be before it's approved. I remember the DPI building on the campus behind the legislative building paid a lot of money for a mural on their outside wall that's been, you know, a standing joke about wasting state money for decades. So you don't want to get I've seen artwork that's great, but then there's some that, you know, doesn't quite pass the muster. So I think that's something we need to look at what we're paying for before we approve it.
That would be pretty easy to do once we get closer to that, because that would be towards the end of the project. We could have the artist do some renderings and present that with a hard price to clean up that one item that's an unknown.
You get that, Steve?
A little bit of it.
All right, so closer to the end of the project, because that's gonna be closer to the end, the artwork will be presented to the board with a firm price closer to the end of the project.
So you're adding that to the motion?
No.
No,
You're not adding that?
It's just the way, you're gonna, of course you would approve that part of the mural
Bring it to
thing.
you.
Yeah,
I was trying to
just bring it,
understand.
yeah.
And I guess I just have one more question. So if the motion on the floor passes and we run into an issue, at any given time, we could come back and look at this and make modifications. Is that true or false? I mean, if
Sure.
we got something outstanding that, you know, a mural that hasn't been painted, other things
Oh,
that we
yeah.
haven't done.
Oh, yeah.
So we can make modifications here as we go. It's not an end-all, be-all.
That's
if
right.
we approve this tonight.
That's right. The categories at the top are probably the hottest. Those are things that are,
Yeah, and I think they're mission critical items that
Right.
we need to decide on.
so,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's
I think
that's
a
lead
given.
times, we gotta get it in and get it working.
And that's why I mentioned overruns a little bit ago. And, you know, you get an unforeseen overrun, you could come back to us and we could adjust this,
TW, can I ask another
Go
question
ahead.
of our audience?
Oh, yeah.
Is there something for all of you out there? Thank you. First of all, thank you for coming tonight. I know there's 100 other places you'd rather be, but I thank you for coming because this is going to be your school. Okay, so we want you to like it. We want you to love it because you're going to spend as much time there as you spend at home. But is there something that you feel like has gone unanswered? Please don't be bashful. This is your time, so don't go out there in the parking lot and talk about it. Talk about it in here, so WIMCO and Mr. Height and Dr. Makepeace and the board can address it.
Hang on, you want me to address this motion first?
No, because we may have to do something
Okay,
different
all
if
right.
they,
No, we ain't
I don't
gotta
think
change the
we will,
motion.
but-
I still gotta address the motion.
The motion's on the floor and been seconded.
right.
It's a little bit of noise out there.
Anything?
Stand up if you've got something you want to ask or just want clarification on.
Let's move.
Please don't hesitate.
That's,
Yes, ma'am.
Where are the buses gonna be located?
oh, that's nothing to do with this. Let's don't get into this.
Okay. Dr.
Okay,
Makepeace?
that's ought to be worked out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You can,
that's in the kindergarten.
She can show you on
And
the
I'm gonna
plat.
say,
Show you the map.
and before you leave, have Dr. Makepeace show you over there on the map.
Yes, sir,
Thank
on
you,
the
Doug.
wall there.
All right.
I call
All
the
right.
question, Mr. Chairman.
All right, call for the motion on the floor. All in favor of the motion on the floor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Nay.
All right, motion passes. All right,
Thank you all.
all right.
Thank you.
Good job.
Dr.
Second.
Makepeace.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right.
Close your walls up. Close your wall.
I was just going.